Discipline is a vital necessity in the sports world. Each sport has its own set of rules, and Formula One is no exception. Breaking these rules attracts hefty fines and penalties from the motorsport governing body, the FIA. But how hefty are these fines? Are they high since Formula One is a lucrative sport? Which are the biggest fines? Today, we're going to look at the 7 largest fines in Formula One history. Number 7. Racing Point's €400,000 fine. Racing Point made its Formula One debut at the 2019 Australian Grand Prix after being renamed from Racing Point Force India F1 team. Rumors had it that the team had been bought by a Lawrence Stroll-led consortium known as Racing Point UK for his son Lance Stroll. The team's official drivers for the 2019 season were Lance Stroll and Sergio Perez. Now we can see the reason behind the rumors. The pink Mercedes, as Christian Horner used to call it due to its resemblance to Mercedes' car, was operating on a Mercedes engine. They also went on to duplicate other parts of the Mercedes car on their car, thus attracting comments such as, "Their only expenditure was on a camera to take photos of the Mercedes." Renault launched complaints from Racing Point's rear brake ducts that had been designed by Mercedes. Formula One rules required each team to design their own parts in-house, and this meant that Racing Point had infringed the rules. As a result of the infringement, the team was slapped with a €400,000 fine and a 15-point reduction in their championship points. However, the team was allowed to continue using the illegal parts, a decision that left many people in the F1 world confused. What do you think of their continued use of the offending parts? Was the penalty harsh enough? Let us know in the comments section below. Number 6. US F1's €309,000 fine. In 2010, a North Carolina-based team known as US F1 registered for an F1 race spot. US F1 was set to join the World Championship together with Lotus, HRT, and Virgin. However, 3 weeks before the start of the season, the team revealed to FIA that it wouldn't be ready in time for the season, and they pleaded for a delayed entry later in the season, or a defer until the 2011 season, which FIA refused. But why did they do that? The team's owners had underestimated the amount of funding needed to race in Formula One, and reality had just came knocking at their door. They neither constructed a car for preseason testing nor competed that season. A statement by FIA stated that USFI had displayed poor financial management and had underestimated the requirement to present an F1 car for the 2010 season in the time and with the financial resources available to them. FIA found US F1 guilty and fined them €309,000, which was equal to championship entry fee. In addition to that, they were banned from ever participating in any FIA racing events. Number 5. Ferrari's $1 million fine. At the 2002 Austrian Grand Prix, Ferrari's Rubens Barrichello had dominated the race from the start, and everyone watching the race was sure that he would win. However, on the final lap, Barrichello slowed down and paved the way for his teammate Michael Schumacher to win. Didn't he want to be the winner, and why did he let Schumacher win? Barrichello's actions were a result of team's orders to boost Schumacher's points. The fan couldn't comprehend why Ferrari ordered a title contender to back down from winning so as to boost their #1 driver's point total at the 6th race of the season. What followed as 2 drivers took to the podium for the award ceremony were jeers and boos from the disappointed fans. Despite it being wrong, Ferrari's action was legal and the FIA couldn't penalize them. However, the podium ceremony provided them with the perfect opportunity that they wanted. At the podium, Schumacher asked Barrichello to assume the race winner spot and then presented him with the winner's trophy. This was a breach of podium protocols, and the FIA capitalized it by fining Ferrari $1 million, which was to be divided between the 2 drivers and the team, with half the amount to be paid immediately and the rest in 12 months. Team orders affecting the end results of a race were also banned until 2010, and when the ban was removed. Teams have begun to use coded messages to communicate team orders, making the rule difficult to enforce. Number 4. Aston Martin's $450,000 fine. At the Japanese Grand Prix, the FIA announced Aston Martin and Red Bull as the only 2 teams on the grid to have violated the 2021 financial regulations. However, unlike Red Bull, Aston Martin was under the cost cap. So why did Aston Martin get the $450,000 fine? Audits by the FIA revealed that Aston Martin had committed a procedural breach by tweaking their financial records. They had, quote-unquote, inaccurately excluded and/or adjusted costs in the calculation of its relevant costs, including areas such as costs for its new headquarters and its new F1 simulator. As a result, they had to sign an accepted breach agreement with FIA. However, FIA stated that there was no evidence nor accusations that the team had intended to act in bad faith during the process. The team also didn't want to benefit from them inaccurately filing financial records. Number 3. The Turkish Grand Prix organizes a $5 million fine. In 2006, the organizers of the Turkish Grand Prix were handed a whopping $5 million fine. Why such a big amount? After the race, podium politics took center stage at the award ceremony. The winner of the event was presented with this trophy by a Turkish Cypriot leader. But here's where it gets interesting. Instead of the leader being introduced using his title, he was introduced as the President of the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus. The Greek Cypriot community was infuriated by the title, causing a big controversy. FIA ruled the podium actions as a breach of Formula One's political neutrality, as the sport shouldn't be used as an avenue to make political statements. Without remorse, they fined the event's organizers $5 million, which was later reduced by half. Despite being halved, it still remains the third largest F1 fine to date. For sure, the fine was a good statement to anybody who dared to think about engaging in politics in Formula One. What do you think of that fine? Let us know in the comment section below. Number 2. Red Bull's $7 million fine. A $145 million cost cap was set for the 2021 season in order to make it favorable for smaller teams to compete with big teams on the grid. This made the ground even for the teams, since now they had similar financial capabilities under the cap. However, Red Bull broke the cost cap rule by having a €1,864,000 overspend. Following an investigation, the FIA determined that Red Bull had violated the cost cap rule. Despite expressing their surprise and disappointment at the verdict, Red Bull signed an accepted breach agreement with FIA, admitting the infringement. This saw them get a $7 million fine, which is the second highest in history, and a responsibility to cover the investigation's costs. The team can either pay the fine or reduce the 2023 expenditures by $7 million. We can't mention here all the reasons the team gave for their overspending, but one memorable one was that they exceeded the budget because they offered free lunch to all their staff. In addition to the fine, Red Bull saw a 10% reduction in their wind tunnel time, which was surely a disadvantage them in building their 2023 car. Since their overspending was below 5%, it was a minor infringement instead of a material overspending, and this saved them from a severe penalty like exclusion from the championship. Number 1. McLaren's Spygate $100 million fine. In 2007, a Ferrari chief mechanic, Nigel Stepney, wasn't happy with Ferrari after they failed to choose him for a technical director role. He went on to speak to the press against Ferrari, prompting them to reduce his powers. He was then later fired for adding foreign powder to the team's car's fuel tanks. After this, McLaren's chief designer, Mike Coughlin's wife, was found in possession of confidential Ferrari documents that Coughlin had sent to her to photocopy at a local shop. The documents had been leaked to Coughlin by Stepney. FIA and the team conducted investigations on the matter and concluded that Coughlin had acted alone and that nobody else at McLaren had accessed the information. However, a feud between McLaren's staff and drivers at the Hungarian Grand Prix a few weeks later prompted the reopening of the investigations into the documents case. Testimonies by McLaren's drivers, Lewis Hamilton, Fernando Alonso, and the test driver Pedro de la Rosa, revealed that McLaren team knew of the documents and it was in possession of them. FIA found them guilty and it fined them $100 million, which is not only the largest in F1 history, but in all of sporting history. McLaren was also disqualified from the Constructors' Championship, but its drivers were allowed to continue with the title fight because of their honesty. The team endured suffering for a while until they issued a formal apology. So, which of these fines did you find interesting? I love puns. Let us know in the comment section down below. And that marks the end of our videos today, guys. So, reward us with a like if you enjoyed it, and make sure to subscribe to the channel for more amazing F1 content. Until next time, cheers.